Pedophilia is disgusting. I know, such a controversial statement that I'm making. Oh dear Lord, Tone, you are so controversial for making a very daring statement. But in all seriousness, I think we can all agree that pedophilia is disgusting. But one, there are some aspects in society that don't happen to recognize that this certain aspect is also a form of pedophilia apologetics, and number two, we happen to notice a rise of pedophilia apologetics from people like MAPS and non-offending minor attracted people, and those who say pedophilia is a sexuality. Get the fuck out of here.
And one day, a 42-year-old adult comes along and says that while he was 10 years old, he had a perfectly consensual sexual relationship with a 30-year-old adult. So do you think that that kind of relationship should not happen? That just because the child was below 18, that relationship that was perfectly harmless should be considered child rape? No!
Why does the law decide that a person becomes an adult at age 18? There is no magical leap of maturity because the sun has revolved around the planet exactly 18 times since they were born.
From an emotional point of view, I can kind of understand that you would want to eliminate these people from society. However, it doesn't make sense. And that's because we're talking about biology. We're talking about a sexual orientation. Something that we simply cannot change.
And this was not between a young child and Brittany. This was a teenager.
Okay, that is not something that I want to hear in my entire lifetime. Okay, and we're going to be talking about many arguments that these sick fucks happen to make. And let's go over them. Number one, men who congratulate young boys who had sex with their teacher because they're hot women. This is one aspect of pedophilia that's almost normalized, but I'm glad it's being called out. It doesn't matter what gender the teacher is or what gender the student is, okay? You don't ever justify a teacher taking advantage of a young student who happens to be in there trying to learn such. And the fact that there are many men who say, oh, I wish I had a teacher like that. You imagine yourself as a minor having sex with a teacher? What the fuck? That is absolutely sick! That is absolutely the most disgusting fantasy that I've ever seen in my life. I bet you wouldn't even excuse it if, oh, I don't know, some fucking male teacher was having sex with a young student who happens to be a little girl. Okay? And if you can't excuse that, then why would you excuse a woman teacher having sex with their student who happens to be a boy? It fucking frightens me, okay? You're not against pedophilia. You're just against a certain form of pedophilia. You have to be against all forms of pedophilia in order to be against pedophilia. That's the whole point. And if you're not, well then I'm not going to be taking your opinion and your support against pedophilia seriously if you're not willing to witness the power and social dynamics and the inexperience that many victims happen to go through. Another argument that they happen to say is, but in older times, pedophilia was okay. First off, in older times, we were inexperienced and unknowledgeable about the power, social dynamics, and the inexperience and the mental health that many children happen to develop. And the fact that you actually try to justify this by saying, but in older times we did this. Okay, in older times, we used to fucking, oh, I don't know, think putting pigeons around ourselves cure us of many diseases. Which it didn't, and now we know now because we have advanced medical technology. Well, aside from the anti-vaxxers, but you know what I mean. Okay, don't ever try to say, oh, but in older times we did this. That doesn't work, because in older times we were inexperienced. Another argument they happen to make, well, babies can consent by the way they move. No, they don't. Like I just said, they're inexperienced, and that has much validity as, oh, I don't know, a rapist saying, well, if she didn't want to get raped, then she shouldn't have, oh, I don't know, dressed like that. You are excusing fucking gaslighting victims and making the victims somehow think it's their fault for getting raped. It's their fault for getting sexually assaulted. It's not. Nobody should be sexually assaulted no matter what they wear or no matter what they do. Consent is all about a verbal agreement. A movement against someone's genitals is not a form of consent. Alright? That is disgusting. Another argument, and this is pretty common, but in other countries the age of consent is 12, 13, or 16. Fuck off. Okay, Japan and the Philippines are fucked up countries with fucked up age of consents. Okay, they have a massive sexual harassment problem, especially on the buses. And the fact that you actually use those countries as examples to justify having sex with a young child makes me fucking sick. And you people happen to be talking about these sort of aspects of countries. Not only that, but also in Europe, the age of consent of 16 is not applied to every single situation. There are also a lot of Europeans who are against a older man, probably in his 40s or 50s, dating a 16-year-old because of power dynamics and experience. Duh! That's the way it is supposed to be. What comes into play is experience and power dynamics of the two or more individuals in a relationship. Now, their argument is, but they're so mature for their age. Many young teens have an aspiration to be independent and to be treated like adults. Okay? I've seen many groomers, online take advantage of the aspiration of many teens who want to become adults and just groom them. Molest them, make them send nudes, and just do this. And that is fucking disgusting. And the fact that you try to justify this by saying, oh, there's some teens that are fucking mature for their age, fuck off. Okay, this is the sort of shit that gets people groomed. Okay, I don't want to see anybody taken advantage of. The majority of young kids and teens are inexperienced. Some of them are smart on an academic level, but when it comes down to social dynamics, power dynamics, and experience in life, they have literally little to none of that. Okay? While at the same time, those adults, they are taxpayer, working class adults who have experience paying their taxes, paying for their homes, and working. And them taking advantage of a young child who is in school, relaxing, has no job, or anything like that, is fucked up. Okay? That's what comes into play. Experience and the power dynamics. Final argument that they happen to make is, but what if they're mentally able to consent? They're not. Like I just said before, they're not mentally able to consent because they're inexperienced and they don't know or have any knowledge about sex, sexual health, or the emotional and mental aspect when it comes down to relationships and sexual intercourse. They don't. Okay? Yes, they do have sex education classes. But at the same time, sex education does not equal experience. Not only that, but also the fact that you would actually try to take advantage of the inexperience of a young child or teen. That just makes you so fucked in the head. Don't ever do this. Okay? Don't ever do this. Now that I've addressed every single argument, please be sure that every single person that you happen to know who is a young teen or a child is safe out there. Make sure that they're aware of the dangers that happen to be on the outside or on the internet, and make sure that they stay safe. Please, just do this.